Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business. And today I really have a wonderful guest, Chris Imafidon. Chris is advisor to royals, presidents, government and corporate leaders. And we have an incredible topic, especially in today's current climate, what to do in a pandemic. Chris, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for the honor of having me.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Chris. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Chris is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Chris, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself, your business and what you do?
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity to share. I have been very privileged to have been able to extend beyond 2 years of life or living. If you look at my face, you know I'm older than 2 years. But about my background, my mother had a son, and that son died after 18 months. And then she had a second son, and that one died after 2 years. So when I came along, it was a thing of joy for me to have exceeded 2 years of life. So, and when it was time to go to school, they took me to school, and my teachers in school thought I was a problem. They didn't think I had a problem. They thought I was a problem. That's a big difference. They thought what you call today autistic. They thought I was an autistic child.
Yes.
And they put a label on me. And when I got home, I casually, very calmly just told my mother, and my mother did what any mother would do. She asked for reinforcement from my mother. So both my mother and my grandmother came down and they immediately put things in process to disabuse my mind about being subnormal, because that was what the official school system was trying to put on me. And sadly, a few of my classmates that were given that label lived it and never moved on beyond that. But what my grandmother did to me was literally make me understand, because she has a lot of patience. Remember, my mother was a working woman and my parents were working. So if you're living in a home where there are parents and there are grandparents, you know that you find more time to discuss with your grandparents than your parents. And she showed to me why it was impossible for anyone to be a failure, or why it was impossible for anyone to think that it can't achieve. She demonstrated to me that when I took my first step, I fell down. So I picked myself up again, and I fell down, and I picked myself up. She reminded me about the process of taking my first steps and applied that to academic subjects, applied that to language learning. And from there, I was able to pick up myself. And now I work with the top governments, advising them, business leaders, giving them advice. And I'm also a university professor. Much for full-time job.
Firstly, Chris, what a nice story to hear. I've not heard your story before, and it was really tragic in the beginning, especially for your mother. I can only imagine how hard that was for her, and you must have been such a blessing when you come along. But also, we do have something in common, Chris, and that was having problems in our school years, which I know is a very, very hard thing to go through. Your mum must be very proud of you now, Chris.
Oh, yes. The sad thing is that my grandmother didn't live long enough to see what I eventually accomplished using her fundamental principle that every human being on planet Earth has greatness in them. The school system was not designed for that. The school system was designed to give you a piece of paper.
Yes.
Real education is bringing out the greatness in you so that you can flow in your gifts.
Yes, and that's a great message for people to hear, because in today's modern world where we're at right now, we're in a pandemic, the country's going crazy again with different restrictions. So that's why our topic is so important today. Globally, this is not just a problem in our country, the USA, and globally as well. We're really in struggling times where people are struggling. So our topic today is really important, Chris. So I would like to touch on, just share what you do in your business. What is your daily life in your business, and how do you serve the people that you are working with?
Oh, daily life, daily routine now revolves around Zoom meetings like this, Teams meeting, using Google Meet to deliver my master's level classes. That's one of the things I do. I teach and lecture and supervise research master's level students up in London, although now the world is flat, in Oxford and in Cambridge, and a few other partnerships that exist between the Excellence in Education program, which, by the way, has produced the highest number of child prodigies. The Excellence in Education program has worked with children that are classified as failing in inner cities. And we have encouraged them, giving them new tools, new techniques, and new technologies to be able to get advanced knowledge. Like a 6-year-old sat the same exam as a 16-year-old. An EIE, Excellence in Education student, our student, sat an exam designed for 16-year-old at the age of 6. And guess what? That 6-year-old scored more marks than the 16-year-old. And this is why the BBC, those of you that follow me on Facebook will have seen the mock-up from BBC, from Sky News, from CNN, from the Times of London, highlighting the incredible ability we have in all our boys and girls and whatever children, whatever color, whatever nature, whatever age, whatever postcode. We have been able to demonstrate that children, or anyone for that matter, is able to exceed all achievements, all known achievements. That's the reason why we routinely now smash the Guinness Book of World Records. We routinely break it. We hold it in maths, in technology, in language, in multiple subjects.
Chris, we need more people in the world to get, like yourself, to get this message out, because lots of children, lots of youngsters, and like you say, even adults don't have that belief, knowing that deep down they can achieve greatness, like you said. So the fact that you're out and really getting these results and really spreading this great message, it's really important, because a lot of people don't have these beliefs. I am really interested to dig a little bit deeper into what you do with the training and how you really support these individuals.
Thank you. First, when I come to your organization or when I come to your business, I do what is called a skills audit. Most people employ new staff based on their CV. Now, the CV is only one aspect of that individual, that human being. Every staff working for you right now can do 4 times more than what they are doing. If you bring them in and find out, what do you do in your spare time? What are your hobbies? Once you know their hobby is football, and you're giving them some work to do in the office, or their hobby is singing, and you're giving them work to do in the office, or their hobby is playing a musical instrument and you're giving work to do in the office, I can map the skills expressed in that hobby and bring it straight into the formal work you're giving them. For example, anybody that plays football already understands what teamwork is. You don't need to tell them what teamwork is. They will be able to, not to relate to another member of the team. They know that the collective success of that team is more important than the individual goal scorer.
Yes.
So we now bring that back to the finance department, if the person is working in the finance department, and find out what role are you playing in the finance department? Are you the manager, or are you a customer-facing staff, or are you the director? We then map football into the workplace and then quadruples what they ever did. If you're a singer, you already know what it means to sing in an orchestra. You know, you might be soprano, you can be mezzo-soprano, or you can be alto. Now we now bring you back to your workplace, and we're able to use your interest to tease out what you are really passionate about, and then bring that to the office when you're working with other doctors, if you're a doctor, or if you're working with other nurses, if you're a nurse. That's how we quadruple the so-called productivity gains. I say so-called because you can never measure human productivity. All you need to do is give them more tools, a superior tool. You give them a new technique. You give them that, therefore transforms their technology. They have a new thinking and they have a new tutelage. So the output you have is a function of the what I call T5s. 5 T's.
Yes.
Your thinking, your tools, your technique, your tutelage, and what everybody now calls technology, an app.
These are really, really important life skills that you're helping individuals to move forward with, Chris. I really admire your work. Now, our topic today is what to do in a pandemic. Firstly, how are you coping with the pandemic, Chris? Are you keeping productive? And what can we do in a pandemic? Give us those words of wisdom, Chris.
In a pandemic, it means that it's an epidemic that cuts across national boundary. It therefore means that the customers and the clients you were serving before the pandemic was local to you, or regional to you, or national to you. Now that there's a pandemic, you do one thing. First, you port your services, your product, or your goods globally. You can no longer just serve people in New Zealand, or serve people in California, or serve people in Texas.
Yes.
You have to buy, thank goodness, the tools of social media. For instance, I'm on 14 different social media every day. 14. Not just the main one of Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, and Periscope. No, not those 14 different ones, including YouTube. Then your reach increases exponentially. And you are therefore able to hire people in geographical location where it was not possible before. I hired someone 3 weeks ago that lives 6,000 miles away from where I live. And she's doing some productive work for me, doing assistance for me. So, one, your product and goods and services now becomes global. Two, your staff and your employees also become global. So you have a bigger selection. And this is what I tell every corporate leader, that if you see this as a problem, it's sad. Because it's sad because people are dying, and I'm so pained by friends. I have friends that have lost personally. I have people that are closer than family that have lost. So in that aspect, the COVID is devastating. But on the other side of the coin, it opens up a vast opportunity for global dominance. Any niche you are in, I can take you through 7 steps. You will dominate the niche. It doesn't matter how rich or how big you are.
Chris, you've mentioned some really, really great points there. One, taking your business global. And I have built a really global business with clients in many different countries, business partners in many different countries. And I like the way you are mentioning as well that you can also employ staff globally, which is helping people in sometimes countries that are not as fortunate as our countries. So you're actually giving the advantage and gift of and a blessing of giving someone a job which will give them income, which is another great benefit. Also, social media, like you mentioned, getting that reach out on social media. And I think, Chris, would you agree with me here? The pandemic has really, for all its negatives, like you mentioned, it's so sad. But on the other hand, I have seen the greatness of social media. I mean, there's a lot of negative, don't get me wrong, but also it's showing you how great social media can be. Even on Zoom conference calls, the power of being able to do business via Zoom. Don't you think we're just in such a great advanced part of time where we have these amazing tools, and like you say, we should be taking advantage of them?
Absolutely. Because the greatest respect we can pay to our friends and our family that have passed on in the COVID, the best thing we can do for their memories is to make sure that we that are behind do not waste the opportunity to lead in our different areas, in our different sectors. Because we might say that the air travel is down because the top 5 airlines globally now is worth less than the Zoom company. You know, the Zoom company, it's a Zoom technology company, had 10 million subscribers as of December 2019. 10 million subscribers. Today, it has 250 million subscribers.
Wow.
So this is why I'm saying that the opportunity has never been bigger in our lifetime.
And there's always an opportunity in every crisis. I truly believe that you have to look for the blessing in every stressing. I really love your work, Chris. I'm so happy of our conversation today. I just want to dig a little bit deeper for those who are listening, who really resonate with your message, your techniques, skills, and what you do. I would like to dig a little bit deeper. Who ideally are you looking to work with? Who are you looking to really get this message out to? And how can you help them with your product and service?
The people that have been affected, anyone that has been affected by COVID, by this evil monster called COVID-19. If your life or your livelihood or your business has been affected, yes, that's the number one group of people I'm working with now on a daily basis, including the local governments, the regional governments, the national government, and international government. We have been working night and day to provide this template, because this template is applicable across all sectors. Our principles that have been tried in times of crisis before. So crisis management is an opportunity to demonstrate leadership. It's not a tragedy. It's not an opportunity to win. It's an opportunity for you to optimize your processes. So if you're a businesswoman or a businessman or a business person in any sector, we are working with all of them. All, because they've been to our website, they've seen what we've done before, and they come along. And the Voice did a series, I think in May, about how we have helped different individuals an institution to not just recover or survive the shock of the lockdown, but how to ease out from lockdown, and why in lockdown your business is booming, because that's a critical thing. While you are in lockdown, your business must be booming. How are you able to convert your customer base that you had before lockdown and monetize it and expand your services and expand your domain? So if you have any issues like about lockdown, you're on our radar.
Chris, really, really wise words. I have managed to really scale up my business through the pandemic, but lots of people out there are losing jobs and are struggling. And I highly recommend them to reach out to Chris, because I am sure he can support you on your journeys. Now, Chris, I want to be a little bit nosy now. You have worked with royals, presidents and government. I want to dig deep there. What kind of work do you do with royals and presidents? I am so intrigued.
Originally, I started off with what they call staff training. So some people call that staff training, others call it human capital development. Because you see, any institution that is worth its salt is got to realize how useful the quality of the staff they have is. If the staff you have is of low quality, it therefore means that the productivity you are going to have is going to be low. So I had the opportunity of working with working in education with a gentleman that used to be.
Chris, your audio has just dropped a little bit, and I want to make sure our interview stays really, really good quality for our listeners. So just so you're aware that your audio has dropped, don't worry, we can just get that sorted, but carry on with your amazing point.
Okay, is it better now?
It's
is the audio better now?
That's
okay,
perfect.
Okay, that's fine. So in 1987, I was invited, myself and my colleagues were invited to St. James's Palace, up next door to Buckingham Palace, and we met who is now called Lord Baker. Then he was Kenneth Baker. Kenneth Baker was the education secretary with Margaret Thatcher, then the prime minister. And after the reception, we were involved in a discussion. And I just mentioned what I said to you earlier about the ability for any human being to be able to realize their greatness, irrespective whether they are autistic, whether they are dyslexic, that they have any so-called special educational need. I said so-called special educational need because every educational need can be met by today's standard and by today's availability. That discussion I had with Kenneth Baker, then, which is now Lord Baker, sparked things up when he went to the office and saw, and by the way, at that occasion, Prince Charles then, with Lady Diana, then was still alive, they were also involved in this discussion. This is how it started. It was an informal discussion because there was a reception for top doctors and specialists at St. James's Park. So cutting a long story short, I became advisor in education to the then Mrs. Thatcher government. Not that they took my advice seriously, because the views I was expressing were too radical. I was saying that every single child is a genius. I was saying that every human being has greatness in them. He couldn't understand that because he works with what is called the binomial distribution. That 5% of the top of any population are geniuses, 80% of them are in the big dome, and then 5 or 10% at the bottom are failures, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's how the whole conversation started. We brought in, we then said, okay, bring up some of your students. We then started working with staff that were classified as unproductive. And if you work in the civil service, if you are a minister, you will know you have a ministerial portfolio, you have what they call permanent secretaries, then you have other senior civil servants. That's what was of real interest to Ken Baker then, that made Ken Baker think twice about what he was going to do with me and what he was going to say to me. So Ken Baker then invited me, we got discussing, and I couldn't persuade the Conservative Party then to change their educational policy, but the conversation continued. And then when John Major came into office, we were able to do something. So that's how my interaction with government started, and then spilled on to other associated or institutions affiliated to the government. So from them, I have, for my sins, advised every single government, from Mrs. Thatcher to the Labour government, to the Blair government, to the Brown government, all the way to Cameron government, May government, and now the Johnson government, in terms of employing productivity gains. Because we cannot use the tools of our great-grandfathers and get the results that our children are going to get.
I hear you, Chris, and I just really, really admire your work ethic, your determination. I really admire your achievements. You really are achieving, but I admire the most how you're serving the global community, serving human beings. And really, my top takeaway today has to be, we all have greatness within. Chris, I have really enjoyed a conversation with you today. Is there anything we did not cover that you would like to share?
I was just warming up.
You have shared great value. How would you like to...
I was just warming up, because I was going to say that before you employ any person to work for you, anyone that is right now in any business of any description, please, before you employ anybody to work for you, you must do a thorough analysis of that candidate. Because some people are being rejected because they don't have a degree, or because they don't have the diploma, or because they don't have the skills. But every single person that has one single skill, the most important skill I look for in a candidate if I'm employing you is, are you teachable? Are you flexible? So even if you don't have the skills right now, or you don't have the knowledge right now, I can employ you the way you are, and then put you on a program that will train you and reveal who you really are to you. Because the report that the school gives you is as far as I'm concerned, is a minimal report. Let me give you an example. During this lockdown, we have shown people how to learn 6 different languages. So every human being, for instance, has the capacity to speak, write, read, and understand 15 different languages. That opens you up to the German market. That opens you up to the Spanish market. That opens you up to the French market. So when I was talking about globalization, this is what I mean. So if you now have multilinguality, hyphenated or backed onto technology, do you know what happens? Every single person in your organization becomes a manager. Do you know what happened? Your competitor will not know what hit them. Do you know what happened? Every customer you have will have affinity to you. So the aspect of human capital development has been ignored for all these years. And that's one thing I want every hearer, every listener. If you're an employee, you need to know your reading speed. Every human being can read up to 1,000 words per minute. Let me say this slowly. Every human being on the planet Earth, if we show them the techniques, you can read a whole book by Steve Jobs, this book by Michelle Obama. I'm making this book available to all the listeners now. If you can send me your email, I will give you this book by Michelle Obama, the biography called Becoming. I'll make it available to you for free. You don't need to pay $25 to get it. And I will show you, more importantly, how you can quadruple your current reading speed, and therefore quadruple your knowledge, and therefore quadruple your skill. That's one big offer I cannot forget to give you. And then because of the work I've done with the princes, Prince William, Prince Harry, the Meghan, and the Royal Foundation, I'm making this royal book, this royal biography available to anybody listening now. I'm making it available to everybody listening now. I need you to email me and I will give it to you for free. Why? I want to use that book as a tool to demonstrate to you that you can read a whole book that is 450 pages long in a matter of minutes, not hours, not days. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share and let everyone know that this is not the time to be gloomy. This is not the time to think that the world is coming to an end. If anything, the end of misery is near. Our miseries and our sorrows are coming to an end, but our capability is now being lifted up, because through adversity comes prosperity. I want you to put that down. Through adversity comes prosperity. With the right information, adversity plus information equals prosperity. Don't you ever think that this situation we are in is going to last forever. No, we will outlast these tough times. Thank you very much, Mark.
Chris, what a powerful way to finish our show today. I myself am feeling I must have so much more greatness inside myself now, Chris. I'm ready to go out and find that greatness. I really, really want to thank you for giving us your time today. I know you're super busy. My last question, how is the best way for people to connect with you? You mentioned your email there for those amazing books. I would say to everyone, take up this amazing offer. So how is the best way for people to connect with you?
Go on Twitter and it's at Chris, then my surname. That's the easiest way. Because my Twitter is on my laptop, is on my desktop, is on my phone, and is on my tablet. So any information that comes through goes through. If you phone me, the phone might just be on charger. I won't be able to get it. Alternatively, if you're not on Twitter, you might also join me on Facebook, because like I said, I'm on Facebook. Or you can go on Instagram and contact me on Instagram. It's at COIMAFIDON. At COIMAFIDON on Instagram. You see my photograph there with the Oscar there. And please do not forget to connect and support Mark. Because Mark is doing a great job in trying to inform, educate, and empower everybody. So I salute you, Mark, for the work you're doing in the community. It's a selfless work. You're not being paid for it, but you're doing it because you have the desire in your heart to help every single person. I thank you, and I'm blessed to be part of your program.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Chris. I have really enjoyed a conversation with you today, and I am just blessed that we have got this message out to people, because it's such an important message. Once again, Chris, thank you for being on the Brilliance Business Show.
Anytime. You're welcome.
You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show. Conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.